Hickok 45, and it's going to be a great day because of what you're looking at. See that gun? It says us on it. Actually, it says U.S. for United States. United States military. It's a military weapon. Sounds dangerous, doesn't it? We're going to talk about it, and you might have seen it briefly in a Shooting the Breeze or other places, and I have been anxious to get it out and show you more about it and fire it. Guess what? I have never fired this revolver, and I have had it since January. You and I are going to fire it together for the first time. So we're going to have a great experience together, I hope. And I wore my hat in celebration, okay? They give us. Yeah, this goes back to 1883, okay? It's a U.S. Cavalry Colt single action army. It is, as I said, I think in the Shooting the Breeze, it's pretty much the holy grail, for me at least, of Colt single actions, and a lot of people, all right? Because these cavalry models really were made for the cavalry, even though I think only about half of them ended up in the cavalry's, holsters. They went to the artillery, the infantry, some of them, Treasury Department, you name it, government agencies. It is a government firearm. But for my reading, at least half of them went to the cavalry. We don't know who carried this one. Could have been some cavalry officer or not, thundering across the prairies of Kansas or Wyoming, wherever, with this in his holster, But we're going to shoot the thing for the first time. I debated about that, but I was not in a big hurry to shoot it anyway. And then I thought, you know what, I want to do this together, and I want to show you what it looks like before it gets filthy. So I didn't open up shooting as I often do. I went ahead and took the screw out that holds the cylinder pin in, base pin. So all I have to do is half cock. I had it all apart, just put it back together so you could see the beautiful thing. And here'd you see me looking for the button to push. It's just force of habit. There's no button to push. I actually like this style. It'd be fine with me if all the new ones operated the same way. It's no problem. Take that screw out, take the bushing out. Okay, and there it is. 1883, not bad. See how you look in 130 some years. Okay. So what I was going to show you for the last time, at least for a while, let's run this patch. It's got a little oil on it through the cylinder. Look at all the crud in there. Haha, no crud. I have cleaned it 2 or 3 times, just making sure it was perfectly clean, well oiled. Look at that. There's just nothing in there. No smudge. The barrel is the same way. It's just so clean. Look at that white patch. So hope you enjoyed seeing that white patch, because after I fire it even one time, that will not be the case, will it? So, and also a reminder here of how the old black powder frames, work. So you put the bushing back in here, and it's on half cock still. So we finagle the cylinder in there, get it kind of centered gently. I usually helps me when I close the loading gate sometimes. Get it centered in there correctly. Sometimes depends on how you put it in there as to whether it seems to fit best, all right? Base pin's lined up perfectly. Now we'll put this screw back in. See, that's what holds the base pin in, instead of that spring-loaded crossbars arrangement that they went to in about 1896. I think it was around serial number 160,000 or something like that. I don't know, but and a lot of people associate that with black powder era versus smokeless powder era. It kind of is. It was also about the time they changed the steel in them, went from iron to better steel and everything, I believe. You got to really know what you're doing and do your research before you ever shoot anything but black powder in a say 1900 Colt single action. I think there was a time period there, an overlap, in the late 1890s where maybe you could do that, but that's up to you. Most experts recommend If it's, I think it's serial number 180,000. If it's prior to 180,000, black powder. After that, smokeless. I think I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong on that number, serial number. But then again, you know, maybe between 160,000 and 180,000, I think you might be all right. I don't know. Better safe than sorry. All right, y'all want to shoot the thing? So I got this in Las Vegas. I think I've told some of you, and so pleased, because it's been on my list, bucket list, for decades maybe. And you've got to be careful with these. The U.S. Cavalry, any of these that are kind of collectible, because there's fakes and there's people trying to make a buck, right? There are a lot of sleazy folks in the world. We know that. We all know that very well, don't we? And if there's money to be made, they'll fake these things. John and I talked to a fellow at the SHOT Show in January that got snookered on one of these. He's actually a dealer in modern firearms and manufacturing and everything, but he loves these old things too. And I think he said he paid $5,000 or $6,000 for it. And it turned out to be a total fake. And this guy knows guns. It was, I think he said, was it a Uberti, John, or something like that, or he had an Italian gun. And they had refinished it, make it look old, and put the markings, the roll markings, and everything on there well enough to fool somebody who actually is not easy to fool. So you have to watch it. There's a fellow named John Kopek, and he is the person, the authority, one of the main authorities on these, written several books, and he offers a letter. If you ever encounter, you think you want one of these, or a fairly expensive old Colt, ask them if they've got a Kopek letter on it. And this is not the Colt letter that verifies when it was made and where it was shipped and that kind of thing. This is, he takes it, like if this didn't have the Kopek letter on, for example, I sent it to him, and I don't know what he charges, $400 or something, I don't know. And he knows these things. You can't fool him. And so he just writes up a summary of what he sees in the firearm. If anything's been replaced, if it's authentic, and what's not, and all that kind of thing. And so this has a Kopek letter on it, and that's, I've asked on a few of these in the past, and they didn't have the Kopek letter. I said, thanks, but no thanks. You know, because it's that old deal, if you don't know diamonds, know your diamond broker. You know, you need to have somebody you can trust on. It's kind of like Mausers, you know, if you get into expensive Mausers. All right, but anyway, so here I am with it, and have not fired it yet. I don't know where it's going to hit, obviously. A lot of the old Colts, they shoot high or low or left or right or whatever. Usually they shoot high, so you just never know. And with this one, it doesn't matter a whole lot. I won't shoot it a great deal. I've got to fire black powder in it. Oh man, I hate to get it all sooted up inside and out, but I'm going to do it because you all are worth it. And actually, we're going to do it anyway. And after the video, John is going to shoot it, and we're going to shoot it some more. Unless it blows up on us, okay? Yeah. Now, if it blows up, and that's the end of me, that's okay. I can't think of a better way to go. Not that I want to go, but a cool old Colt single action, you know, person can do worse. Get hit by some car, you know, in rush hour. These are my hand loads. These are some I bought. They're all black powder. I'm not sure which to go with. I have these labeled as moderate. I loaded these years ago. They should be okay. I'm just going to try them, I think, first. Okay. All right. What do you think would be the most appropriate target to shoot? Well, you know how to load one of these. Would I pick up 5? Yes. So let's put one in. Skip a chamber. Put another one in. Again, these are black powder cartridges. They look like regular cartridges because they're not see-through. You can't tell what powder's in there. 250 grain bullets. Cock it. Let the hammer down an empty chamber. And there it is. Well, I don't know when it was fired last. Could have been some guy on horseback in 1884. I don't know. Don't know. Well, you know what? I don't have my ears out here, but let me let me find some right here. It's not a problem generally finding ears. Let's see. Well, What caliber do I want? About 45 usually works pretty well, or 10 millimeter. There we go. Okay, in a pinch, find a couple of cases. This is kind of in honor of Lee Ermey. This is what he always did, right? You can't believe it. Been waiting for the light to get right, and I didn't even have my ears out here. Okay, it's loaded. I think it might be appropriate to shoot the cowboy or smoke pot. What do you think? Let's smoke this pot first because it's so close. All right. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Even though it might not get good reading on where to hold, it'll get us warmed up better. All right, here we go. Right through it. All right, we smoked that pot. Now let's try the cowboy and see if I can tell anything about where it hits. All right, cowboy. This is pretty appropriate. I'm gonna hold right in the middle. Okay. I think it shoots a little high left. Okay, so that's seems to be the case, but at least it's in the ballpark. That's the main thing. All right, so let's empty these out, eject these dirty old cases. You have to use Kentucky windage with these old things, that's for sure. Let's load him up. I'll try these. Now the the rounds are going to hit the same place probably, or at least as far as windage they are. Right now, elevation, they could be a little different. Why? Well, velocity makes a difference. Rolling pin. Boom. 2 liter. That's got some boom to it. That's got some boom. I think that's right. I found a whole ammo can of old black powder loads, and I put those in the basement in an ammo can because I actually got them a little too light. I think that was the thing. I'm not sure. So those are light. These are pretty stiff. I'll tell you what, I've told you this before. If you load up a full case of black powder, you really get some power. The 45 Colt was, one reason they wanted a round that would, out of this gun, that would drop a horse, stop a horse. And it was the magnum of the day. Really, it was the first and really only, or the hottest commercially available round chambered, for a long time until really the 357 Magnum in 1935. So that was the Magnum. Now they messed around with the loads, they reduced them some, then you had the 45 Schofield round, which was kind of the special, shorter round and all that. But I have loaded some of these up with a full, they're hotter than these, a full case. And I mean to tell you, I've come out here and fired them in a newer Colt, but it's just like that. And they're no fun. They are magnums, they really are. But because they're black powder, you have a different pressure curve and all that, and they're supposed to be safe. Unlike modern powder. So it fires. That is great. Let me try something again here. I love it. I love it. I'll fire these hot ones again. I got these from Buffalo Arms. They're one of the few places, if not the only, that loads black powder cartridges that you can just order. All right. Oh man. Let me try the tombstone there, see where I hit on it. All right, man. All right. I'm going to throw one at the gong just for the heck of it. Where it looked like it went high, maybe. Starting to get dirty. I can't see through the smoke to know where they're going. Ooh, obviously it wasn't a 30-yard or an 80-yard firearm. But let's get those out. I'll juice her down a little bit. Woo, doesn't take long. Wow. In fact, I'm going to spray it now. I used to do this when I was a cowboy action shooter. I shot Frontier cartridge, black powder most of the time, and I just kept some juice here, Balisol or something, to spray it and keep it loose, where I could turn the cylinder, stay in the match. Ooh, that stuff really sets up fast, especially when the firearm gets hot, as it is. Woo! Black powder causes the firearm to get hot, just get hotter. That's what had to make the Henry a difficult firearm to hang on to, with no forearm. If you fired a lot of rounds quickly, boy, that thing had to be hard to hold on to. Of course, the thing about black powder, it just loosens up and cleans up nicely. The old percussion pistols, quite often you can only get 2 cylinders worth out of them, and you're out of business basically if you don't have a way to loosen up that firearm. And some of these. All right, so we have christened it. We'll shoot it some more here. Yep, she's loose now. So a little bit about this. Again, the military, I've got these others out here we'll do more on this, but in 1860, the firearm before this Colt single action was the 1860 Army, basically. That was the main adoption of the military, as well as the 58 Remington. So this was the Colt, though, that was before this one. It was percussion, whole different ball game to load that. You've seen that, you've seen us do it. And then there was the open top and some other conversions after that, but it was 73 before we got this firearm. And then after this one, we did the 38 Colt, long Colt. So we went to a double action 38, all right? So that's the firearm before, and that's the firearm after, as far as primary military adoptions, during that time period. The Colt single action was the firearm from 1873 to about 1892. Okay, I think they made them from 73 to 90, basically about 100 and forgot the numbers now, 100 and I don't know, about 140,000 of them or so. Made up quite a few of them, and I think they signed the contract for the adoption in July of 73. Okay, for 8,000, the first order. Then those were delivered, at least a couple thousand of them, in December, all right, and issued to like the 6th and the 10th Cavalry or something. So I don't see how any civilians would have had them in 1873. Might have, but I don't know how they would have gotten hold of any at that time. Although they did, I read they made 500 of them, about 500 for civilians in 73. Now, probably it was into 84 before those got into their hands. So pretty early on, some civilians could have had this, even though it was a military adoption, all right? And it was very popular, and so civilians were clamoring for it, and so Colt, they made, I think, over 1,000 of those or more every year for civilians as well. So it's not an anachronism, or it is fairly accurate, to see movies where folks are carrying these, in the mid-70s, late 1870s, of course, okay? Just an interesting gun. You may notice the Peacemaker. I read that there was a dealer in Cincinnati that dubbed it that. He was using that to promote it, and it caught on pretty big, the Peacemaker, didn't it? And it's just interesting. The reason it's called Colt Single Action Army is because of what I just said. It seems like a weird name for it, doesn't it? But it's an Army revolver. It was the adopted sidearm, intended for cavalry, but it was used by a lot of soldiers at the time. And again, it was successful for a long time. They also had Smith & Wessons. In fact, they bought 3,000 Smith & Wessons same time they bought this, the 8,000 of these. So it was in use too, but not in as big a numbers. And a lot of people wonder why would you want this when you got the Schofield or the number 3 Smith & Wessons? Because they were quicker to reload and all that, extract cartridges. You've seen our Schofield videos, and And I have read some more on that. The soldiers just like the feel of this, the reliability of it. If fewer parts, the simpler. And I read one account where soldiers actually like this better because often you needed to reload during some melee or fight, whatever, but you didn't want to get rid of all your good cartridges. You know, in other words, a tactical reload. And that's not fast, of course, but if you wanted to top off your gun, you could take out the rounds that were fired, you know, and put a couple more in there, and then rejoin the fight or whatever. When you broke that Schofield down, you basically were dumping everything out, your good loads and your empties. And then you know what happened? In fact, it happened to us in a video. To me, I think it was over at the Gong Club range. I got a piece of brass under that star, and I like to never got it out. And that's a real thing. It's a real thing. And in battle, that's not good, is it? So it wasn't fast to reload and everything, but it was reliable and it had a great feel. The grip feels great, everything about it. You've seen several videos on the Colt single action, of course. So I wanted to focus a little more on the Army model, the use. Well, they're all the Army model, basically. This one actually was issued, and you know, some soldier carried this. It's in pretty good shape, though, isn't it? Although you can tell it's a tack driver right there, can't you? I think those grips probably were taken off a different firearm, different, you know, Colt. You know, they're authentic and everything, because I don't know how you do that much hammering and not bang up the frame there, the grip frame. But anyway, it's all matching, and it's a jewel. It really is. Black powder frame, because that's back when they were all black powder. Yeah, man. So I think we should shoot it again. All right, let's do it. I'll try not to make this a 50-minute video. I told John we need about 50 minutes today. Boy, I'll tell you what, she's getting tight. I'm gonna lock her up here, loosen her up a little. I'm glad it's tight, though. I'm impressed with the mechanics of it. Yeah, she wants to really tighten up. The old tolerances are pretty tight on it. They really are. Oh, man. I didn't know what I would discover. Had not fired it at all. Yeah. Some of that is caked up in it. Try some of the lighter loads here, maybe won't stress it so much. All right. Either way, it's going to be a job to clean. A labor of love. Labor of love. Colt Single Action Army. The real thing. The real thing. Okay. So, okay, she's on a, what did I do with my, yeah. All right, what else do I want to shoot here? Well, let's try a 2-liter. I bet nobody did that back in 1883 with it. Woo! Notice I didn't set all the 2 liters up. I didn't know how it would shoot, or I didn't figure I could hit anything at any distance, but you never know. Let's try the Cowboy again. Boom. I don't understand it. It seems to shoot, the windage seems fine when I shoot that Tombstone, but when I shoot the Cowboy, that shoots, let me hold really still on the Cowboy. I thought it shot left. Maybe the way the sun's coming in on the sights. Yeah, I still think it shoots a little to the left. It shoots high, and maybe a hair to the left. Good enough, though, for combat. Let me get that thing. Oh, man. This takes me back to doing cowboy action shooting. I would get my firearms all so messy and yucky. I'd get all over my shirt and everything, and you see that. But it was important to keep them oiled up so they would work. Okay, that was the most important thing. Tell you what, it's mechanically pretty sound. It really is. I might have it Cerakoted. I'm not sure. I'm still trying to decide on that. What do you think? What finish should I choose? Pink? Yeah, when I was doing cowboy action shooting, you might have an hour between stages sometimes or whatever, and it'd be hot and sunny, and boy, that black powder would cake up. I would get my guns aside at a safe place, and I would just spray some down the barrel, just keep them limber, loosened up, and worked every time. Okay, unlike today where I'm going ahead and shooting, but again, it gets hot, it heats up very quickly. Get my paper towel back out here. All right, so these things again. You can search our channel and you'll find several videos on the Colt single action and see me slobbering on the things. Again, this one's a little different, but you know, they were adopted. They were a military adoption. You know, that's why they're called that. And of course, they're wildly popular with everybody. I read that was part of the problem. You know, you'd have soldiers back in the 1870s, 1880s. They would just maybe lose, quote unquote, their sidearm, you know, because some civilian would pay dearly for one of these things, especially before they were plentiful, you know, in gun shops and everything. And they were just very, very, very popular. And of course, the movies and the TV series and just everything has made them wildly popular. I mean, it's real, you know, in a sense. I mean, they were more plentiful, more popular than the Smith & Wessons. Even if you like the Smith & Wessons, I'm sorry, they were. Part of that was because Smith & Wesson was so busy filling the Russian contract at the time, you know, and then the Schofield was used by the military for a while and then kind of phased out because of the ammo incompatibility in some ways, or problems, logistics they had. I've talked about that before. And they were just simple. I read that the Army got them for $13 a copy. And they provided a screwdriver. I don't know if it was like this, but they had a screwdriver with it, and it looked just like this. I wonder why, because this is one of them. Wooden grips, and you know, it was now it does look a little different. Here's a newer one, the Davy Colt. You recognize that? It would have looked like that, except for the grips. You know, the color case hardened frame, all that's kind of worn off. The bluing, not much left of it either, right? So, you know, that's the difference. But that's what it would have looked like. Pretty much, if it were brand new. Maybe not as beautiful a blued finish, you think, and just cool. You see, there's a little DFC there. I don't know if you can see that. That stands for David F. Clark. He was the inspector on this run of them from like I don't know, I think it was the early 80s or 1880, sorry. Towards the end of the 1880s. He was the inspector. His initials should be on it. Again, those are the things you look for: serial number and just everything, matching and making sense. Got the bullseye ejector rod. I think that was about the last year they used that, and so that is that. What else in terms of the military? In the 1890s. Late 1890s, you know, we had the Spanish-American War, we were in the Philippines. You've heard the stories about the 38, this one right here, not being enough to stop the Moro tribesmen attacking, hopped up on some kind of drug, and they, you know, there was the word, we need the 45s back, we need the 45s. The little 38 long Colt was not doing the job, and so they brought out these. And they took about 17,000 of these, I think, and cut them down to a 5.5-inch barrel, and they reissued those. And they got those down there, and then later the new service revolvers and just bigger 45 revolvers. The 1911 wasn't available yet, you know, obviously. In the early 1900s, 1902, 1 or 3 and 5 and all that. So this is the cavalry model. If you see one that's been cut down, they call those generally the artillery model. And they're still highly collectible, even though they cut down the barrel, because it's still, you know, a military revolver, and that was done by the military. It wasn't some joker like me in my garage with a hacksaw. You know, the military did that and then reissued it. So those are very, very collectible as well. I didn't want one of those. I liked the original cavalry model and the 7.5-inch barrel. And again, I've eyeballed them for a long time. Just never found one that was in a price range I could afford, that I felt good enough about, that was in the condition I wanted. You know me, I don't look for a museum piece. I just want one that's pretty good shape, mechanically sound. Doesn't need to be a rare serial number or something, anything like that. That doesn't mean much to me. I just want a good sample of a firearm of a specific period. That's usually what I'm interested in when I'm looking at antiques or older firearms. And and this is pretty cool. And I think we need to shoot it again. Yeah, I'm pleased mechanically, not bad. I want to put some of this hot stuff back in there. All right. And we'll let you go in a little bit. I just wanted to share this with you, okay? I knew you'd be mad at me if I did not. And in fact, I've been, for real, I'm not joking, I thought I would fire it for the first time with you, okay? Get your nostrils filled with black powder smoke, Okay. All right, I got some hot rounds here. Maybe I'll smoke a pot with them. Boom. Oh man, let's swap that tombstone again. Doggies, hits it hard, doesn't it? Let's swap that cowboy. Smoke him up. I'm gonna try the gong again. Let's see, if I hold a little low right, I might hit it, who knows. Or I might not. I'll try the buffalo. That way I can see where it's going, maybe. I just saw white smoke. Sorry about that. These weren't made for accuracy. Although they're not bad. They're not bad. All right, let's empty it. And we'll kind of wrap up here. Where y'all get bored with me and my FUD gun, right? And these things are so historical. Oh, I didn't put my ears in. I forgot. Well, with black powder and big boomers and these kinds of things, you want to wear ear protection. But by the same token, they're not ear piercing like like a lot of modern cartridges are. That was just an oversight. And I wear ear protection with with everything basically. Not being cavalier about that or anything. I just forgot. Just too dumb to remember everything. Left my earplugs in the barn. Keep her oiled down and wiped down. Don't have to worry about scratching it, a little bitty, because the finish is off. But still like to keep it lubricated and wet, because I won't shoot it that often. John's going to shoot it here, but we'll bring it out maybe once every 6 months, take a few shots or something like that. So again, that's especially why I wanted you to be here and witness it and hopefully enjoy it. So I was going to mention the 45 Colt. That's such a great cartridge and powerful. A lot of people prefer other cartridges though, even in these firearms. They like the 44-40. They called it the 44 Winchester back in the day. And because the rifles, even later, the 1892, but the 1873 Winchester was chambered in 44-40. And I don't argue with people about this or anything really. Believe what you want to believe. But so 44-40 or 44 Winchester was a popular chambering in these firearms later. Not in the Army model. It was always 45 Colt. Except early on, very early on, there were some 44 rimfires, I think, because they were still a holdover. But it was a 45 Colt. But the numbers, and I've read this several places, the split was, like 60, I think it was like 60% of all the Colts made, single actions, were 45 Colt. And 25% is the number I see, were 44-40. So it's just a lot more 45 Colt. And then the other percentages are sprinkling of everything else, 38-40 and different chamberings. And but there's no doubt about it. Once with that 44-40 Winchester, that great lever gun, that there was some advantage. Having a 44-40, it wasn't as powerful as the 45 Colt, but it was compatible. Same ammo if you're out in the wilderness. although that didn't come about until 1877, the 4440 in this gun, and not the Army model, but the same gun, you know, whether it's for the Army or not, it's the same revolver. It just doesn't have US on the side, and it might be in a different, you know, chambering. So anyway, I could talk about these things all day long. If you find these things interesting, get you a replica at least, and you will enjoy it. I've had several replicas. They are just as much fun, and they're pretty darn authentic. You have to decide if you want a Colt clone or you want a Ruger that's made a little differently, but it's still very close and more durable. But I highly recommend you experience these single action revolvers. You know, whether it's a clone, it's an original, just depends on your budget, whether you want to invest in one and that kind of thing. Because, man, talk about a piece of history as well as being fun to shoot. It's just unbeatable. It really is. So anyway, like I say, kind of the holy grail. Not in perfect condition, but a great revolver. And because it's used black powder, it's harder to anyway bring it out. Let's shoot a little bit today. And next week the same thing, because it's a bit of a big deal to clean it, especially one like this. You want to clean it really well. So it's a kind of firearm that you plan ahead on. And okay, we're going to shoot this thing, you know, next month or something. Let's just plan to do that, and then clean it, put it away for 6 months or 3 months, whatever. So anyway, the U.S. Cavalry model, the real deal. We don't know who carried it, whether it was a cavalry person or infantryman, artillery, or who. We just don't know. But that's the beauty of these old guns. You know, if only they could talk. But I've yet to get one that can. So I guess I'm finished shooting the thing. No, let's shoot it 5 times and let you go. Okay? Why don't we just let them go as I'm shooting it, John? Okay, let's just shoot these. I mean, it's dirty, so like, why not? Okay, why not? We appreciate y'all's support, and don't forget to always look at the video description for anything you want to know about meet and greets and all that sort of thing. And I'll go ahead and I don't have to tell you. I'm gonna put my ears in here, my makeshift ears, and I don't have to tell you that life is good, but I'm going to be shooting while you guys go away. How's that?
Oh, hi. Since you guys are here, just, you know, killing a little time. I've already seen this video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. While you're here, I want to remind you to please check out our friends over at SDI and TalonGunGrips.com. SDI is a fully accredited online distance learning program where you can become associated, get an associate's degree, and be associated with some good people, get an associate's degree in firearms technology, and get certified in gunsmithing. That's SDI.edu. And also, Talon Grips makes grips for grip tape for lots of different types of handguns and other purposes. As you can see right there, they have a lot of cool stuff over on their website. Go to TalonGunGrips.com. I think you'll be glad you checked that out, and also SDI. So appreciate both of those people and support them if it makes sense for you, as we always ask. Also, since you're here, just want to further remind you that we do have a website. It's called hickok45.com. That's HICKOK45.com. Some people try to misspell it on us. So go check that out. That's where you can find all kinds of things over there, like our social media, the real Hickok45 on Instagram, Hickok45 on Twitter and Facebook. I have an Instagram page, John_Hickok45. Let's see, our merchandise is on our website, and also bunkerbranding.com. You can find it there too. And we have videos on Gunstreamer now, so if you want to check that out, watch us somewhere other than YouTube, do that. And also don't forget about our Patreon page. We've got some good people over in the Gong Club on our Patreon page, so if that's something you're interested in, check that out. We post videos over there occasionally that don't go on YouTube, or you get like an early look, you know, something like that. So check that stuff out. Feel free to watch some other videos, and I got to get back to my axe throwing here because, you know, if the apocalypse comes, you know, all the Glocks and 1911s and SIGs and XDs and Walthers and H&Ks, might not be any ammo to shoot in those, so might have to resort back to tools like this. So I'll get back to my training, and I'll let you guys get back to watching videos. Thank you.